Five house owners which didn't bow down to their government and didn't agree to sell their house at any cost. How can someone sell the house you built with your lifetime earnings in one fell swoop? And that too when the government or a builder wants to forcefully buy from you. Today we are going to tell you about five houses whose owners refused to evacuate their homes. Whether they faced the government or a rich builder, but they didn't evacuate their house. So let's begin. Number 5. Aston Spegus. In Washington DC, this small house is present between the large apartments. The owner of this small house is Aston Spegus. In 1980s, when the construction of the building started at this place, many houses owners have sold their house and plots to builders. But Aston clearly refused to sell his house to builder. Aston stated that builders not giving him the enough cost of his house and he planned to open pizza shop in his house. But something happened wrong in the life of Aston and he became indebted to the bank and he had to sell his house for half the price. Aston sold the house to a builder for $7,15,000 while the Aston was demanding $1.5 million. Number 4. Yang. At first glance, it seems that an earthquake may have occurred here, but this is the 3 stories building of Yang. He was clearly refused to the Chinese government to sell their house. The place where the Yang house is located was required to the Chinese government for making a high-tech industry on this place. Yang neighbors abandoned their homes before the government and sold them to the Chinese government while Yang refused and goes to court for case. Even builders cut off the connection of water, gas and electricity of Yang house. He was bringing water from 1 kilometer away and at night he was uses candle for lighting. And finally, after fighting the case for 2 years, the court gave the decision in Yang's favor. Number 3. Edith Macefield House. There is a small town in Washington called Seattle. There is a shopping mall that has a strange appearance, but upon closer inspection, it turns out that the mall is actually built around a small house. In 2006, an 84-year-old woman living alone in a small house and the name of old woman was Macy Field. At that time there were few houses built around this house and the rest of the place was left empty. When this place becomes commercial, then the builders thought of building a shopping mall here. Builders were buys all the properties and houses of this place, but old woman cannot agree to sell her house in any cost. Even Miss Field turned down $1 million offer. Finally, builders accepted her decision and was started building the shopping mall around the Miss Field house. Right 2 years later, the old woman died. And when a letter opened after his death, she was written that my house would be gifted to builder after my death. When the builder found out about this, so he didn't destroy the house and remained the house in his real shape. This small house is so famous now and people making selfies with this small house. Number 2. Leo Baugin. There is a part of damaged building that stands in the middle of a new road, blocking the way of vehicles. There was many flats in this building, in one of which an old couple lived. When the government had to build a road here, the rest of the people left the flat by taking money or an alternative place. But Leo Baugin and his wife was not satisfied with the flat given by the government and flatly refused to leave his flat. and decided to stay in his broken flat. The government had to leave the rooms around the flat and made a road around the flat. Number 1. Naratia Airport, Japan. In Japan, there is a farmhouse between the Naratia Airport. When the Japanese government wanted to build an airport here, the people there refused to give their land to the government. Many farmers got together and there was a lot of protest and a long cases went on in the court, and finally the court gave a decision in the favor of farmers, and the government got permission to build only one runway of the airport in the fields. Farmer still living in the middle of the airport and also doing his farming without any problems. Nations prosper where there is justice.